everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is a show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, and Patreon, and follow Dayspring Discussions on the Facebook group, the Twitter account, and dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. Well, guys, it is Wednesday. That's right, new comic day. Hopefully you're out there grabbing up a couple of good single issues or graphic novels. On tomorrow's show, I'll be doing my normal Thursday review of this week's comics, so get set for that. On today's show, though, there are two topics I want to mention. First one, I feel like I'm a little bit of an expert on. The other one, not so much an expert. So let's start with the one thing I feel like I have a good grasp on, and that's X-Men. For those of you who've been listening to me for a long time, I like to brag that this show is an X-Men reference. If you get the reference, kudos to you. You are a true X-Men fan. Yesterday, I was on Twitter, and I had just finished watching the Fox show The Gifted, which is based on X-Men characters, or storylines, or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I was on Twitter looking at hashtag The Gifted, and I saw this one post that basically said about all the good little X-Men things that are coming in 2018. And I thought to myself, wow, I'd forgotten how much X-Men we got right now. Because I guess I've been a little preoccupied with the fact that with the Disney Fox deal, X-Men are going to go to Disney/Marvel Studios. We might get a reboot of the movies, something like that. But I forgot that not only are we getting several movies, but of course we've got the TV shows, both of which are going really well. So what I want to do, kind of starting off the year, of course, like I said, this is an X-Men reference show. So I'm going to talk about all things that are coming out X-Men within this next year. You fire back, let me know what you're excited about, and we'll get this show going. So to start off in April, we have the first X-Men movie that is set to premiere, which is New Mutants. On April 13th, directed by Josh Boone, who directed the movie The Fault in Our Stars. This is based off the spin-off X-Men group with Wolfsbane, Cannonball, Mystique, all those people. It looks interesting. It looks very different. One thing I've enjoyed about the X-Men films recently, to do different genres. Deadpool was pretty much an action comedy. Logan was a drama western. Apocalypse was straight up superhero. This is giving a different slant to the X-Men world. Looks like we're going to dip in the horror element here. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but in any event, it's got the X-Men label. I'm excited for it. The cast looks good. Josh Boone, I wasn't a huge fan of The Fault in Our Stars, but compared to some of those other teen romance movies, it was actually pretty decent. So I'll give him credit for that. New Mutants, I'm going to give it a shot. I don't think I'll like it as much as the other X-Men movies coming out, but we'll see how they tie it into the X universe. That's kind of really what I want to know, because in the comics, the first group of New Mutants really morphed into X-Force, led by Cable. And given the fact that we're getting Cable in Deadpool, I'm anxious to see how they're going to morph that into it. Speaking of which, Deadpool 2 comes out June 2nd, starring Ryan Reynolds, and like I said, introduces us to Cable, played by Josh Brolin. It's going to be a busy year for Mr. Brolin, doing not only Cable, but also Thanos in Avengers Infinity War. He's definitely going to be popular in 2018. Now, I think the thing I'm most excited about for this is Cable. He's a very popular character. He's got a very sordid past. He's the son of Cyclops from an apocalyptic future, come back to stop that future from taking place. And he's also had a long time relationship with Deadpool. They had comics, Cable and Deadpool, where the two play off each other very well. Deadpool, of course, being very jokey, Cable being very serious. So it's kind of like an odd couple they got thing going on. I'm not sure what the premise of this film is going to be, but the first Deadpool was great. Everyone loved it. Phenomenal. So I can only imagine with Ryan Reynolds back as the star, they're going to do something cool with this. They got the director from one of the John Wick films. I'm fine with that. Like I said, as long as Ryan Reynolds is involved, I think they're going to be on the straight and narrow. Deadpool was such a surprise hit for Fox that I think they're going to give him a little more free reign, allow him to do a little more. The promotions, of course, for this have been great. You got the Oh, what's that guy's name? The painter guy, Bob something or other. Anyway, they did the little tease for the movie, and Deadpool dressed up as the painter guy, painting his happy little trees and whacking off his paintbrush. Hilarious. So I'm looking forward to all the great promotional stuff this film is going to bring until it comes out in June. But of course, looking forward to the film itself. Again, curious how they're going to cross this with possible other X-Men universe stuff, bring Cable into the regular X-Men films. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And then, of course, we have the main event come November. X-Men Dark Phoenix comes out November 2nd. Kind of the regular mainstream of the X-Men movies coming out. We just had an article in Entertainment Weekly a few weeks ago about it. We got our first couple of pictures of it. This is going to be the sequel to X-Men Apocalypse, which of course was the sequel to Days of Future Past, and so on and so on. We got the new group of mutants. We got Ty Sheridan as Cyclops, Sophie Turner as Jean Grey, Nightcrawler, Storm, all those people. Looks like we're going to focus more on them. Of course, Jennifer Lawrence, Michael Fassbender, and James McAvoy are all coming back from Magneto, Mystique, and Xavier. But the focus is supposed to be on Sophie Turner. It's her journey in this one as the Phoenix. And based off that Entertainment Weekly article, I'm excited. The only thing that worries me about this is it's Simon Kinberg's first directorial debut. He's been with the X-Men franchise for a while as a writer and producer. He's even worked on some Star Wars Rebels and other things, but he's never directed a film before. However, he wanted more time on the special effects in this film. From the Entertainment Weekly article, he said he really wants this as a do-over for X3, and he wants to get everything right. These things all together make me believe we might actually get something good. We're going into space. Jessica Chastain is going to play some kind of alien. Whether she'll be Lilandra or not, I don't know. At this point, I really don't care. You just got to bring in that space element for the Phoenix Saga, and I think it'll be okay. Sophie Turner, if you would ask me several years ago if she would have been able to do this, I would have said no. But the way she's transitioned Sansa in Game of Thrones from season 1 to the latest season, I think she can do it. I think she has the acting chops to do it. I have all the faith in the world. I just want to make sure they focus on her and Scott's relationship, played by Ty Sheridan, because that is a very focal point of the Dark Phoenix saga. They don't have to go paint by numbers and just do exactly what the comic book story did. I get it. It's a movie. You got a different cast. You got to change things. That's fine. But you have to keep the heart of it there. The heart of it is Jean dealing with the dark urges, dealing with the Phoenix inside of her, and her friends trying to save her. And of course, her relationship with Scott is at the center of it. I'm excited for it. I know a lot of people aren't. A lot of people weren't a big fan of X-Men Apocalypse. I enjoyed X-Men Apocalypse. I can see the issues as a film, but as an X-Men fan, I really enjoyed it. So I'm super excited to continue that with the cast. Dark Phoenix. Let's see where it goes, guys. Only time will tell. Jumping over to the TV, we do have the show Legion on FX. It's getting to season 2. We don't know when it's coming out. Legion is, one of those shows. I watched the first episode and I hated it. Then I watched the second episode. Pretty good. Third episode better. Fourth episode better. And overall, it's very different from any other superhero show that's out there right now. And that's a good thing. With the character of Legion, I'm not a big fan of him in the comic books, but I get his place in the X-Men universe and his importance. Whether they're going to dive into who his actual father is, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with that. But in any event, it's different enough and interesting enough. It's got my attention. I'm going to watch season 2. If you haven't checked it out, go onto FX and check it out. All I ask is that you get to the third episode. If you want to drop out after episode 3, that's fine, but at least get to the end of episode 3 and then tell me if you want to continue or not. Now, the main show, of course, that got me inspired to do this little segment was The Gifted. When I first saw previews for this show, I thought, well, it looks like kind of like a Heroes knockoff. The NBC show Heroes that was out, a decade ago? I was a really big fan of season 1. Season 2 I thought was still okay, but then season 3 kind of lost its way, and season 4 was the last season of it. But I always thought, and what I always told people, was that show was X-Men without the costumes. It was people with powers, living in the world, saving the world, all that stuff. Now we have X-Men characters that are kind of spin-offs. You have Polaris, you have Thunderbird, you have Blink, which are known X-Men characters, but then the Struckers, the family, is kind of the main centerfold of this show, and from what I know, they're not really in the comics, at least from my knowledge, which is fine. And same thing with kind of Legion. The first episode, I liked it more than I liked the first episode of Legion, but each episode has gotten better and better. This last episode, I loved. Why? Because they brought in the Cuckoos. If you know who the Cuckoos are, go back and read Grant Morrison's New X-Men to start off. They are Emma Frost, the White Queen's proteges. And there's 3 of them, and they have like a hive mind, and they're really fun characters, especially when they start splitting apart. The fact that they brought them in and the way they're played is great. I love it. I also love the fact that they are part of the Hellfire Club. They talk about the Inner Circle. In this last episode, they talk to Polaris about who her real father is. Just a lot of nice Easter eggs. You got the Purifiers also in this last episode. They're bringing in those X-Men elements, which I think are great. I'm looking forward to the season finale. Again, I don't know. Same thing with Legion. I don't know if they're going to get to Polaris and who her real father is. This has nothing to do with the movie, so it's not like Michael Fassbender is going to pop up and you're not going to see James McAvoy pop up on Legion. I get it, but really, if you're an X-Men fan, you should be watching this show. It's not like phenomenal, but it's good as an X-Men fan. You get all the Easter eggs and really a basis of what the X-Men is all about. I'm curious how it's all going to end and where to go from here, but in any event, check out The Gifted on Fox. And then the big thing with X-Men in the comics is the resurrection of the original Jean Grey, aka Phoenix, going on right now. That first issue came out, I believe, last week, if I remember correctly. It was interesting, different from what I thought it was going to be. But at any event, we'll see how it goes. You know, I'm not saying it's going to be good, but I was a big believer that you didn't need to bring the original Jean Grey back because you had young Jean Grey. If you read the Jean Grey comic book that came out last month, you might want to see why they have to bring the original Jean Grey back. But in any event, the comics are looking good. I'm enjoying X-Men Blue. I'm enjoying X-Men Gold, the 2 main books. Those are awesome. Even the Weapon X comic book with all those guys is pretty decent as well. Astonishing X-Men, probably my least favorite of the X-Men books going on right now. But in any event, all new Wolverine too. That's good too. So Lauren, that's really good. Check that out, guys. But the whole point of all of this is that there's a lot of good X-Men stuff happening in 2018, and I didn't realize it till yesterday how much X-Men we've got this year, how much X-Men we're getting. I really hope it's all good. I'm going to be cheering for it and just super excited about it, guys. So hopefully, if you don't know anything about the stuff I've talked about, go check it out for yourself. You can find this stuff online or just hit me up, especially under my personal Instagram and Twitter name, Slim Dayspring 12. I'll be glad to answer any questions and talk X-Men till the sun comes up and then back again. Okay, so to wrap up this episode, I'm going to talk about something I don't know that much about. For those of you who've been listening to me for a while or know me, know that I follow a lot of things that are considered geeky. Okay, I like superheroes and comic books. I like Star Wars. I like Game of Thrones. I like a little bit of Star Trek, you know, of course, the new Star Trek and stuff like that. I'm a big geek. Everybody knows it. You know, I revel in it. As Tyrion Lannister once said, know what you are, wear it as a suit of armor, then it can never hurt you. And that's kind of a good motto that I've come to adapt in my life in these last couple of years. So there are 2 things that have a big fan base in the geek world that I really don't watch. And I've told people about this. One is Walking Dead. The other is Doctor Who. I just, can't get into them. My mother-in-law, huge Doctor Who fan. Going to her room, she's got Doctor Who everywhere. Lisa, my wife, a little more casual Doctor Who fan. She hasn't seen any of the latest stuff with Peter Capaldi, but she's watched all the other stuff with Matt Smith and all the guys before that. So I had the Doctor Who Christmas special recorded for my mother-in-law on my Sling account. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to check it out. I've seen several bits and pieces of episodes as, I walk through my house and my wife or my mother-in-law have been watching it, but I've never actually sat down and watched an episode. So I thought what a great experiment it would be for 2018 for me to actually try out Doctor Who. Now, some people have said, oh, you got to go back to, the beginning, when, several seasons ago, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that. It's not my thing. I'm going to jump in, see how I like the style of it, and kind of go from there. So, for those of you who may not have seen the episode yet, I'm going to get into a little bit of spoilers in this last Christmas episode, so this is your warning. So in this one, what was it called? Twice Upon a Time, we had the Tale of Two Doctors. We had original Doctor David Bradley, and we also had the newest Doctor, or the latest Doctor, Peter Capaldi. The original Doctor, played by Bradley, refused to regenerate, and so was Capaldi. Capaldi thought it was time for him to end. He's lived thousands of lifetimes. He has endured thousands of deaths and seen everyone he loved and cared about gone. He couldn't endure anymore, so he figured if he lets himself die and not regenerate, it'll be a respectful way to go out. Then, of course, some people from the future show up, cause a couple problems. We get a return of the actress Pearl Mackie, who allegedly died, I guess, in some previous episodes. I'm not sure. Like I said, I jumped in just this episode. I haven't seen any of the previous episodes. But her character as Bill was here. And they were protecting a character known as the Captain, played by Martin Gatiss. I think that's how you say his last name. You might know him best from the show Sherlock, also on BBC, which I'm a big Sherlock fan. And Stephen Moffat, who does this show and Sherlock, been doing it for a while. I think this is his last season, along with Capaldi, and then someone else is taking over. But from what I know, Moffat's still going to do Sherlock, so I'm cool with that. But in any event, they're protecting the Captain. These guys from the future are on their way, and what it all comes down to is letting things happen and let the natural course go. By the end of the episode, Capaldi regenerates into the new Doctor. What's her name? I can't even remember her name. Jodie Whittaker, that's who it is. That's who's going to be our new Doctor for the coming seasons. Of course, there was a lot of controversy a while when they announced her that it was a female Doctor, the first female Doctor. People were flipping out, and those people, I say, you're dumbasses, shut your mouths, just don't watch if you don't like it. But in any event, this was Doctor Who. This is the episode I started Doctor Who with. And to be honest, it was okay. I liked the light bits of humor in it. The sci-fi elements were heavy hardcore. I mean, you got to be a total sweaty nerd to really get into all the time travel and juicy nerdness and geekiness that this comes with. I get it. It's all about time travel and paradoxes and all this stuff. So, I mean, if you're just coming in as a person who just watches, reality TV, that's going to be totally over your head. But in any event, I liked it. I didn't love it, though. So the question is, will I continue to watch? Honestly, I don't know. I'm kind of interested to see what they do with this female Doctor, especially how it ended as well. Of course, spoiler, the end of the episode, she gets thrown out of the TARDIS, and we'll see how it goes from there. Will I continue to watch? Again, I don't know. I might give another episode. I might, just to see how this female Doctor goes, I might just go along with it and see. I can't call myself a fan yet. I can't say that I'm going to stick with it from now on or add it to the shows that I watch, but I'm willing to see where it goes, maybe another episode or two, and to see if it's worth my time. Because there's a lot of good TV out there. I will say there's a lot of good TV. I do not have time to watch it all. Nobody does, unless that's really your job, in which case it's not for me. There are other shows that I really enjoy that I just really want to watch all the time. And like shows like Happy, where I did enjoy it. I do see that it is a good show. Same thing with like Walking Dead. I agree it could be a good show. It's got a good following, of course. But it's not my cup of tea, and there are some more things I'd rather watch instead that I might not get to it. And Doctor Who might fall in that category. The next two episodes and where they go with this female Doctor might perk me up a little bit, and I might continue with it. But we don't know. But anyway, that was my first impression of Doctor Who. Sitting down, watching Twice Upon a Time. Not too bad, but like I said, we'll see how it goes. I definitely see the appeal of it. I see why people love it, and maybe in time I'll grow to love it. I don't know. Stay continued for that, guys. But that's going to be it for me for this episode. Now it's time you guys fire back on the social media account and Gmail account. Let me know. Are you excited for all the X-Men goodiness? Are you not excited for something? Let me know. Are you a little worried about Dark Phoenix with Simon Kinberg? Are you possibly a little worried about New Mutants? Do you watch The Gifted? Let me know. I don't know a lot of people that watch The Gifted, so I'm curious to get other people's feedback on the show and see if they've grown to like it more with each episode like I have. And, of course, Doctor Who. If you're a big Doctor Who fan, I want to hear from you. Let me know why you love the Doctor and what you thought about the Christmas special, Twice Upon a Time. And are you excited for the new era that Doctor Who is about to enter with the female Doctor? Let me know, guys. DayspringDiscussions@gmail.com. Facebook group, Twitter account. I'm there for you. So that's going to be it for me for today. Tomorrow I'll be back, of course, with comic reviews and maybe a little bit more news. Until then, may the Force be with us all.